Hello friends, welcome to my channel. I'm Em and my books are everywhere. It's been a while since I've recorded, but I'm really excited to get back into it. And I'm going to be starting with just a little recap of what I've read so far this year. And first things first, I want to say thank you so much to Chrissie from Chrissie's Purple Library. She reached out to me and said she was thinking of me and she wanted to send me a little something, and boy did she send me something. So let me show you what I got from her. She sent me this book off of my wish list, and this is the Bookshop Mysteries, and it's book 1 by S.A. Reeves. And this is a book about Gemma, who loves the quiet life of her bookshop, the Bookworm, a haven for book lovers in a quaint town in the heart of Derbyshire. But everything changes when Gemma discovers the body of a local author, Dominic Wesley, during the shop's latest book signing event. And it goes on, but I'll leave you off with that. I love cozy mysteries. This sounds like a cozy mystery. I haven't read anything by this author or really know anything more about this book, but it takes place in a bookstore. There's a murder. It seems like it would be a clean read to me, but I will definitely let you know once I get into it. But thank you so much, Chrissie. This is great. This is exactly what I need. The other thing that was really cool that she gave me were these Agatha Christie Trivia cards. And you guys, if you've watched any of my videos, know Agatha Christie is my favorite author. I reread her all the time. I love all things Agatha Christie, and this is so perfect. I love trivia as well. So what I'm gonna do now is I haven't opened the package inside to see exactly what the formats of the cards are, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a card, I'm going to read the trivia question, and then a little ways farther down I'll give you what I think the answer is, and then at the end of the video I'll tell you what the answer on the back of the card is. And bless you, my little kitty cat, he sneezed. That was Humphrey that you heard there. My cats are hanging around because it's the evening. It was too hot to film during the day with the air conditioner off, and the air conditioner is really noisy. So I'm filming into the evening, and the cats are active, and so you may see one or two of them coming around me. I only have 2 cats. I'm not crazy cat lady, I promise. So let's get started with some trivia. Okay, so we've got 3 little packets of trivia cards. I'm going to take the sleeve off of one. Okay. Oh, this is so cute. Look at, this is Agatha Christie and her writing desk and her typewriter. Isn't that so cool? I love the design of this. Okay. So I'm covering up the answer down here, and the question is, what was the name of the first story the young Agatha Miller wrote in order to stave off boredom while in bed with influenza? And it's multiple choice, so it's The House of Beauty, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, or A Murder is Announced. So A, The House of Beauty, B, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, and C, A Murder is Announced. Okay, friends, so I have had all sorts of intentions for things that I was going to be doing with my channel this year. I was super excited going into the year about recording and ideas for videos and just and reading, and then just stuff started happening, mostly at work, and things were just kind of chaotic, and it was really affecting me in that I couldn't focus. And so basically I just started rereading a lot of my favorite comfort reads, and because it's stuff that I had talked about on the channel last year, that I felt that was just like repetitive content to be talking about. So I did get some reading in before that slump hit me as far as some new books, so I'll let you know what those new books are. And just to let you know that I am starting to read more books outside of my comfort reads. and I have some ideas for the channel. And again, thank you, Chrissie sister, so much. Your little gift, your trivia cards, like really gave me a jump start to record a video. There's one of my cats, that's Humphrey. And so thank you so much. So I am happy to be back on YouTube. I have really missed talking to everyone about the books that I've been reading. And there have been, like I said, a couple of books that have gotten me back into reading books outside of my regular rereads, because let me tell you, has this been the year that I have mostly reread my Agatha Christie books? And I even suggested to one of my book clubs that we read an Agatha Christie book for our book club choice, because again, reading the books that I hadn't read before was kind of giving me anxiety, because I didn't know what happened and I wasn't sure like how dark those books were going to be going, if at all. But it was just like anxiety producing for me, and reading normally isn't. It's just that there really was a lot of things going on at work that were chaotic and that were really throwing me off balance, and I didn't want to spend my at-home time being off balance as well. So mostly what I've read this year are my favorite Agatha Christie's, other books of series that I know and love. And so they weren't anxiety producing, they were pleasure producing, because I knew how the story went. I knew that I liked those characters, and some of them may have been books that I, forgot some of the details of. And so I enjoyed reading them again, but knowing that they were going to be a happy outcome for me, and that I didn't have to be anxious about stuff that happened. So just to give you a little example, so the book that I recently read that was a new book, it was an audiobook that I was listening to. And audiobooks I love because I can do other things while I'm listening to them. But this book, and it's a YA book, it's clean. I am going to put a picture of it here. It's called A Dangerous Alliance, an Austentacious Romance by Jennieke Cohen. And it really was a surprising read for me in a good way. And there were some things in it that I thought were going to go a certain way, and I was pleasantly surprised that they didn't. But because I was kind of dreading the way I thought it was going to go, I had to stop listening and give myself some time and then come back to it. So I couldn't keep going in the audiobook because I was kind of anxious about what might happen, and I didn't want it to happen. And again, I was pleasantly surprised several times when that happened. I had stopped the book, and when I came back to it, the author was able to put a twist on what I thought was going to happen. So it didn't play out exactly how I thought. So really, I could have just listened to this book, no problem. But because I've never listened to it or read this book before, I wasn't sure how it was going to go. And with my experience of other books that actually go to that spot or what I was thinking, I was like, I cannot right now. So I would stop listening and then come back to it later. I'm happy to report that even though there was these real sense of danger and sense of, oh no, is he gonna betray her? Oh no, is this gonna happen? Oh, is he the bad guy? That all this stuff, like there were elements of that, but it was resolved to my satisfaction, and really I could have just listened to the whole thing. I really wish that I had had that in a physical copy or at least an ebook, because that's easier for me to get through those tougher parts. And again, not that this was anything like super serious, it really was just at the time my state of mind. I could not handle any more like bad news. And so I couldn't just listen to the audiobook and go through that at that moment. Reading, again, when I'm physically reading or reading on an ebook, it's so much easier for me to like skim over things, especially if it's like a harder read or something that is maybe not what I would want in the story. It's easier for me to skim through it or to get through it reading with my eyeballs than listening. So anyways, I do recommend this book. It is a clean, sweet romance. The main character is Victoria, and she has a sister that is married, and so she is living her best life, taking care of the estate. Her dad lets her go ahead and take care of things on the estate that normally as a woman she would not be able to do. And I think she's about 18 or 19, and she had a childhood friend that they were best friends, and he was the boy from the estate next door, but he left 5 years before the story takes place. And she really at first was writing to him, but then he didn't answer her back, and so she really lost touch with him. And now he's back, and she was super excited, but he's like been ignoring her. And so there was something that had happened in their past that she was still kind of mad about, and he wasn't talking to her, so they couldn't resolve that. So that was like a big portion of the story. And then something happened in her family that resulted in her having to get married really quickly. So the season was about to start, and it was her mission during that season to find a husband. And so she goes on these dates, and you get to see what those dates are like with these different guys, and that was pretty funny. And then there's a guy that she hits it off with, and she thinks that might be the one, but she's not sure. So there's like all this stuff happening, and it's there is adventure in it, and there's romance in it, and there's a lot of banter, and it's a fun, clean read. I think it's kisses only. There's nothing that happened. So yeah, I recommend it. Another book that I recently read, and that I am so ashamed. This was a buddy read that I was doing with my sister, and we started it in February. And this was Belladonna by Adalyn Grace. And she finished it like in 3 days or something. And I finished it in May, yes, Memorial Day weekend is when I went on a trip to visit family in Utah. It was a long drive, and I didn't have a lot to do other than visit with my family. So in my quiet moments, I finished reading it. It was so good. There is a couple of fade to black scenes in here. So this was a very interesting book about Signa, and she can't die, or it seems like she can't die, but people around her do, and death comes to claim their spirits. And so she engages in a dialogue with him, and he is surprised that she can see him and can talk to him, and they can touch, like he can feel her and she can feel him. And that's not something that ever happens, because when he touches someone, it takes their spirit and he takes them to the afterlife. So it was a really interesting book, and I did start to tab it, but then this is around here is when I started to get slumpy, and it was everything I could do just to read, not because the book wasn't interesting, but again, because I couldn't focus to be able to read. And I had some book club books that had stopped me from, reading it here. And then when I came back to it, I just wasn't in a place where I felt like I could tab and annotate and make notes or whatever. So I didn't get very far on that, but I did finish the book. It had a big twist that I didn't see coming. And I was giving my sister my thoughts, months later after she had read it. She was so good about not giving me spoilers, because she already knew what the twist was when I was telling her my thoughts. But this is Belladonna by Adalyn Grace, and that was another book that I enjoyed this first half of the year. One of my new all-time favorite books I read for book club this year. It was a book that I also had wanted to read for quite a while. I love Ellen Montgomery. The Anne of Green Gables series is one of my favorites, but I had never read The Blue Castle, and I did hear some people talking about this book last year on YouTube, and I thought, oh, I should read that book. and I love it, not more than Anne of Green Gables. I love them in different ways. Anne of Green Gables is such a classic. Her spirit and seeing her grow, it's so amazing. In this book, it takes place in a much shorter time span. She's an adult, the main character, when throughout this book, so it's not the same as watching Anne grow. But I love this. So she's older. She's about to turn 29, I think. It's her 29th birthday when she wakes up and the story starts. And she is having some problems herself. The fact that she's turning 29 and the fact that she hasn't had the opportunity to turn anybody down because nobody has asked her to marry them, that's really weighing on her. And it's kind of humorous, and the way it's written, it's so great. Let me see if I can find this part here. Okay, I've been looking for quite a bit and I couldn't find the exact quote, but basically she was saying that she didn't regret not being married. She regretted that she didn't have the chance to decide to not be married, so because nobody had asked her. But I really, really enjoyed this book, and it is one of my favorites now, and one that I will be rereading. There's a lot of humor in it. There's a lot of things to think about and how you live your life and what regrets you might have for not choosing to do stuff, and choosing to give in to what other people expect of you rather than to go and do something that you really want and that's for you just because it's not expected of you. But I love this book. I recommended The Blue Castle by Ellen Montgomery. Main character is Valency Sterling, and she's 29 years old when it starts, and I think it goes over just like 1 year of her life, but the changes that she makes in it and the reasons why she makes those changes, it's so good. So I recommend this book. So guys, I've been filling out my reading journal that I started this year, and I have read quite a few books. It looks like I haven't started filling out for April yet, but I have read quite a bit of books and some that I haven't put in here. But looking over my list, I did do the one video earlier this year of what I had read, and that's most of the new to me books that I read were during that week, because after that I was rereading just a lot of stuff. And some books that or some series that I had read years and years and years ago but was coming back to, the Cat Who books. I love that series, so that was a kind of cozy read for me, because even though I couldn't remember all the details in the books that I read, I knew enough of that series that there wasn't going to be anything that I was going to be outraged about or upset about. So that series I continued on with. The Cat Who Played Brahms, The Cat Who Played Post Office, and The Cat Who Knew Shakespeare. I think that might have been as far as I got in that series this year. So far, I'm still going to be continuing with that. Yeah, it looks like that's about as far as I got with that. Another series that I was continuing in this year, and this actually was a new to me series, was the Paws and Pastries series by Barbara Hinske. And I have those books on ebook, so I'll put a picture here. The book that I most recently read was the newest one that had released at the time, and that was Tarts and Turnovers, and that is, oh, is that book 4 or book 3? I'll put it right here, in the Paws and Pastries series by Barbara Hinske, and that is just such a heartwarming series. It's not really, it's just like cozy fiction. It's not a mystery. There's things that happen that you're kind of trying to figure out, but it's not a whodunit or anything like that. It's just a sweet story of this woman that moves to a new town to start her life over. and she opens a bakery, and there are things that happen where is her business going to succeed? Is something going on with her potential boyfriend? There is things that happen in there, but it's not overly dramatic. It's just a sweet, gentle story, and there's lovely people in that town. And so even though the main character, has those things that crop up, the support that she gets from the community and her new friends, it's just amazing. It's just a nice, heartwarming story is all I can say for that. I just reread a lot of Agatha Christie. E.F. Benson, the Queen Lucia series, is one of my favorites of all time, so I started rereading that. The audiobooks, if you can get them read by Prunella Scales, Geraldine McEwen, who is the other lady that does it? I'll put her name right here. Those are the best versions of the audiobooks. There's like lots of versions, and you might find one that you like better. Those are the ones that I like. I also physically read those a lot. I have 3 different versions of books in that series. 2 of the versions I have the complete collection. The other one, it was just like my mom had found one at a thrift shop that she gave to me, which I want to say is Mapp and Lucia. And if I'm going to read only one, it's a 6-book series. If I'm going to read only one, that's usually the one that I read. But generally, I'll read Queen Lucia, Miss Mapp, Mapp and Lucia, and then the last 2. Mapp and Lucia is what I consider the 4th book in the series, and then the last 2. So I generally reread those more. This time I did do all of them: Queen Lucia, Lucia in London, Miss Mapp, Mapp and Lucia. I'll just go get them. So here is the first set of Lucia books that I got. I love this edition. These portraits are just so... I don't know if this is like a famous art piece or not, but this cover looks like Geraldine McEwen that played Lucia in the London Weekend Television. I think that was the producer of the Lucia miniseries. It was a British miniseries that kind of took it kind of wrapped up all the books into a 2-series miniseries. And the actress that played Lucia, this picture really reminds me of her, but I don't think that this painting was based on her. Anyways, Queen Lucia is book 1. Lucia in London is book 2. Miss Mapp is book 3. Mapp and Lucia is book 4. Lucia's Progress. It's called Lucia's Progress in this edition, but it was originally The Worshipful Lucia. This is book 5. And then the last book is Trouble for Lucia. These are books that I pick up all the time, whether I pick them up in print or audiobook. I really do enjoy the audiobook to put on in the background when I'm doing other things, because I have read them so much. I know the stories. I know what's coming next. Sorry. I have some 0 sugar lemonade because it's so hot right now. Lemonade is so refreshing. Because I love these books. I love these stories. They make me laugh and they bring me joy. So these are great to put on in the background when I'm doing other stuff, to have that comfort of like someone telling me a story that I love. So we're back with our little mystery card, and I'm going to give you my answer. I thought the first book that she wrote was something called like Snow on the Desert, or something, snow in the sand, something like that. but that's not one of the choices here. And I know that her first book that was published was The Mysterious Affair at Styles, and I know The Murder is Announced came out in the 1950s, I think. So I'm guessing The House of Beauty is probably the answer, although that doesn't ring a bell to me personally at all. But we shall see at the end of the video if I was right. What was your answer? Let me know in the comments what your answer was, or if you got it right. Other series that I've been rereading this year, it's the Paws and Claws, a series by Krista Davis, and takes place in Wagtail with Holly and her dog Trixie and all the other lovely people that live there. They are cozy mysteries, and the town is just great. If you're a pet lover, you would wish this town really existed so that you could go and stay at the pet-friendly hotel and have all of the pet-friendly businesses where you could take your dogs or cats. Sounds like just heaven. And my cat would love to go there too. The rooms in the hotel all have like cat runs and things like that where they can entertain themselves. That just would be wonderful if that was a real place. Another series that I have been reading this year is the Charity Shop Detective Agency series by Peter Boland. That series is still ongoing, and I've read, there's one book that was released that I haven't read yet, but the other ones, book 1, 2, and 3, I have reread. And the Charity Shop Detective Agency is book 1. Book 2 is Beach Hut Murders. And then book 3, I think, is the Dog Show Murders. Everything else, guys, that's on my list of what I've read this year. Oh, there's a couple more. But most everything else on here is Agatha Christie. I did read Burden of Poof by Julianne Lindsay, and that was a fun, cozy mystery. It was a new to me one. I hadn't ever read any of that mystery series, and I will be continuing on with it. I read All Fudged Up by Nancy Coco. I feel like I had already started that series before, but when I was reading that one in March, it still felt kind of new to me. I read West with Giraffes by Linda Rutledge. That was a very interesting read. That was for one of my book clubs. It was almost dual timeline story that started in the 30s, I believe, with the Dust Bowl and these two giraffes that had been in a shipwreck, and they were on their way to the new San Diego Zoo for an exhibit there. And it's a story of traveling with those giraffes to get them to the zoo in San Diego, and the main character was kind of a tag along in that, and he's now over 100 at the beginning of the story, recalling the story, or he wrote it down and someone is reading his adventures traveling west with the giraffes. I read I Must Betray You by Ruta Sepetys. That was for one of my book club reads. Oh my goodness. That was a hard read, but I got through it because it was for book club. But yeah, if it had not been a book club choice, I don't think that I would have picked it up, because I kind of feel like that also, like after reading that, I was again really trepidatious to read books that were new to me, because I like a good book, and if it makes me cry, that's fine. But if I know it's gonna make me cry, sometimes I'm not gonna choose it. I need to be in like the right space to read something like that. So give me a cozy mystery, give me a clean rom-com, give me an adventure story. Those are my jam. That's what I like to read, what keeps me and puts me in a really good mood. As far as the Agatha Christie's, I am doing the Read Christie Challenge for this year. I have changed up some of the books that are their recommended choice. Their choice, was it for this month, was Crooked House. Whatever the choice was for this month, I don't think I read that one. Actually, I read Dumb Witness so far this month. We're still early in the month, but that didn't meet the challenge. That was for book clubs. That's the book that we're going to be reading for one of my book clubs, which I suggested it because I love Agatha Christie. And it has the cutest dog named Bob, as Poirot calls him. So that's my latest Agatha Christie that I read, Dumb Witness. I've also reread this year 3-Act Tragedy, The Seven Dials Mystery, Passenger to Frankfurt, The Secret Adversary, The Secret of Chimneys, and I've probably reread those a few different times. Just lots of Agatha Christie this year because, again, she is my comfort read. So I did read Marple, 12 New Mysteries. I had read it before, so that's the short story collection that each story is written by a different modern author, but it's using Agatha Christie's characters. They're pretty good stories. I still prefer Agatha Christie's Miss Marple short stories, but there were some good ones in this new collection, so I did read that. Another book that I have been reading, and is Agatha Christie's Marple, Expert on Wickedness by Dr. Mark Aldridge. This is he has a Poirot one too, where he just kind of breaks down all of the different stories. In this hardback edition, there's some pictures of the original covers and just a lot of information about Miss Marple and the Miss Marple stories and stuff. And there's an introduction here by Lucy Foley, which was one of the authors that wrote one of the new short stories in that collection. I've also been reading some Nancy Drew. That's another comfort read. This was my Agatha Christie of my childhood. I read The Clue of the Broken Locket, book number 11, and I need to get to book number 12. And what I'm doing with this is there is a podcast that's a couple of sisters that read they call it a comedy podcast. They read the Nancy Drew books and some other books, but then they talk about them, and they're so funny. So what I've been doing is I'll read the book and then I'll listen to that episode that they recorded regarding that book, because it's almost like with YouTube, how I want to know if you guys have read any of the books that I talk about, what you thought, and I watch videos and see what other people have said in their videos of books that they have recently read that I have also read. It's fun to hear other people's thoughts. So it's the same kind of thing, only it's definitely audio podcast. It's called It's a Clue. They have the cutest little theme song too, so if you haven't listened to that, you might enjoy it if you like Nancy Drew. It's an audio podcast. It's a Clue, and it's two sisters. They read the Nancy Drew books and they talk about them. They give ratings that have something to do. So like this one might be out of 12 broken lockets, how many did you rate this? And then they also rate the love interests in here, like do they compare to Ned? Do they beat Ned? Are they not as good as Ned? So that's another fun thing that they do on their podcast. So I do recommend that podcast. And actually, Dr. Mark Aldridge has a podcast with one of his friends that has also written about Agatha Christie, and their podcast is called the Swinging Christies, and it's about the books that Agatha Christie wrote, I want to say between like 1959 and 1970, and they take like a topic, and because it's like the 60s, they talk about like sex, drugs, fashion, and other things like that. It is a clean podcast. They don't use bad language. Some of the things that they discuss are heavier topics, but it's not, how to put this? It doesn't feel gratuitous in the stuff that they say, and it's all very interesting and historical points and things like that. It's not sensationalized. So I do enjoy that podcast also. They don't have a lot of episodes, but yeah, it's fun to listen to them break down Agatha Christie and how a lot of people think that she was just this conservative old lady, but really the stuff that she's writing about was topical and of the times that she was living in. It wasn't always this idealized vision that we get of the village where the murders take place. I haven't read any so far this year, but I got some new Murder, She Wrote books that I'm anxious to read. I got Murder, She Wrote, Snowy with a Chance of Murder. I might hold on to this one for when it cools down. Right now, it's super hot in California. Well, off and on super hot. So we can have a day where it's like a high of 87, and then like the next day it's a high of 101. So it's just like up and down weather. But the warm weather is definitely here, and it'll be a few months of that. Then there's this one, Murder, She Wrote, Debonair and Death. So I probably would pick up this one way before I pick up the other one. And this one is written by Jessica Fletcher and Terry Farley Moran. So I think I've read another one that Terry Farley Moran has written and enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to that. And another one that I'm looking forward to is While My Pretty One Knits. And this is a black sheep knitting mystery. You guys know that I love to knit. I have actually been doing a lot of knitting and a lot of paper crafting. That is something that really helps me control stress in my life. That's another thing that has really been bringing me joy this year. So I am wanting to get into the knitting mysteries. I love them. Other books that I am going to be continuing, this is the Annie's Attic mysteries, and this is Metals in the Attic. This is book 2 in that series, so I'm looking forward to reading this. And then I also got Rita Mae Brown and Sneaky Pie Brown. This is Feline Fatale. I had started reading this series in the 90s, maybe, and just dropped it off along the way. I'm not sure what book this is, if this is even like anywhere near where I left off, or if this is a newer book, but I love this series, so I'm looking forward to getting back into that one too. And there, if you can find it, there is the cutest movie with Ricky Lake that was based on this series, or at least on the first book or two of the series. If you can find it, I recommend it. It was so fun, and that's actually how I found out about the books and started reading those books, was after I had watched it. I want to say it's called Murder She Purred or Murder She Meowed, one of the two. The only other thing that I have that I want to share with you guys, one of my pals at work found this at Target or Walmart or somewhere, and he got that for me. Isn't that super cute? Jessica Fletcher. Look at her in all her sleuthy glory. Yeah, super excited about that. I like the Funko Pop dolls, but I love this little bookish, action figure, I guess you could call her. She's not really a doll. I love it. All right, friends. Okay, so we are back with our card, and we're gonna reveal the answer to the question, what was the name of the first story the young Agatha Miller, and that was her maiden name, wrote in order to stave off boredom while in bed with influenza? A, The House of Beauty, B, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, or C, A Murder is Announced. So my guess was A, The House of Beauty, and the answer is A, The House of Beauty. So I got that one right. Yay me. One for me. But look at these gorgeous, gorgeous cards. Thank you, Chrissie, so much. I love this. And you will be seeing more trivia in my videos, and I'll do it the same way. Well, I'll read out the question at the beginning, give my answer in the middle, and then the card's answer at the end. Thank you so much, Chrissie. Thank you for watching. I have really enjoyed getting back into recording. Thank you all for sticking with me. I am looking forward to hearing your thoughts on any of these books that I mentioned, about what you do when you're in a reading slump or just feeling slumpy in general. I hope you enjoyed the little bit of trivia. It will be coming back. Thank you so much for watching, friends. I've missed you, and I will see you next time.